Welcome back, Hordlings, to more Runaway. The Dream of the Turtle, Chapter 2 begins now.
What was it? Nothing more and nothing less than a military camp. Can you believe it?
It's not that weird, Brian. I bet they were just doing maneuvers.
You're wrong, Sushi. In the beginning, that's kinda what I thought too. The soldiers had most likely seen Gina falling, so I headed for the camp to see whether they would help me. But it didn't turn out to be as easy as just going down to the lake, meeting up with her and ending the day trip with a pina colada. Nope. The accident turned out to be nothing compared to what was in store for me. Things were about to get worse. Much worse.
Chapter 2, Surfin' Mala.
Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
Well, here I am at last. I never thought I'd make it.
I love
I
tikis!
hope the hike was worth it, and those soldiers know something about Gina.
Freeze! Hands behind your head!
But
I said hands up, mister!
Okay. All right, man, keep it cool.
Listen, pal, it's nothing personal, but you can never be too careful.
This is not necessary. I'm unarmed. I just wanted to ask if you guys saw a girl fall into the lake this morning.
How would I know? All girl stuff is part of the Colonel's privileges. Yo, get over here! Get over here!
Could I speak with the Colonel then?
I don't know why I should help you, dude, but you caught me in a good mood. Wait here, and I'll go ask him. Don't take your eyes off him, Felton.
That guy take a bath in charcoal?
Leslie, a civilian wants to talk to the Colonel. All right, Felton, accompany the civilian into the Colonel's tent.
As you order. Leslie, this is the guy who wants to have a word with the Colonel.
One moment, my Colonel. Thank you, Felton. You, come here, please.
Huge trunks.
Mr.
The gun as usual.
Uh-huh.
Huge trunks.
I've taken note, my Colonel.
Caught him by surprise.
Your name?
Brian Basco.
Well, Mr. Basco, wait here. Mr. What's-his-face wishes to speak with you, my Colonel.
Who? Tell him I'm asleep, flower pot.
But he can hear you speaking right now, my Colonel.
I must be speaking in my sleep, flower pot.
No, Daddy, you're more of the snoring type.
Flower pot,
What
that
the
memory
fuck?
of yours is worse than a senile old general's. Get it through that thick skull of yours that there are no mommies or daddies in the army. Get over here a minute. I need to explain something. And pull those shirt tails right out of your pants. You look like a mama's boy. Look here, Lester. Why do you think I call you Flower Pot? To belittle you? No. It's such an outlandish surname that nobody will suspect it's fake. If the troops knew I sired a dim-witted boob like you, they'd lose their confidence in me, and I'd be shafted. You get it, son?
It's not bad to have a flamer for a son. Happens all the time.
Looks like Leslie writes down all the orders he gets from his dad in here. What surprises me most, though, is that his writing resembles mine so much. No, Leslie told me to stay put, and that thing's surrounded by soldiers. I'd better not loiter around.
I'm sorry, Dad. I mean, my Colonel. Oh, by the way, the satellite has located that shipment of cigars you were being sent from Cuba, my Colonel.
It's about time, Flower Pot. Coordinates?
I didn't memorize them, my Colonel, but I'll ask for them again right away.
God damn it, Flower Pot. Aren't you using that planner I gave you for Christmas? Do it now, and send a couple of men to the area. I want those cigars brought to me, as of yesterday. Out of my sight, Flower Pot.
You can come in, Mr. whatever you're called.
Thanks.
Well then,
Good morning. My name is...
Is that what you came to tell me, civilian? Or did you have something interesting to say?
Well, I'd like to ask you about...
Negative. I'm the one asking questions here.
Yeah, but I was just wondering whether...
What do you think this is? A Q&A in the Pentagon press room? I'm warning you. Nobody interrogates me.
It's really just a quick...
Look here, Sippy Boy. Are you dumb or am I explaining this all wrong? If you ask me one more question, you're gonna spend the next 15 days in my refrigerator. Got that?
In the refrigerator? Well, if you give me a baseball to toss around...
Okay then. Now, answer this. What in Sam Hill are you doing on my island?
A girlfriend of mine fell into the lake, and I think you guys rescued her.
Negative, civilian. My men monitor every centimeter of Mala Island, and they ain't seen none of that. You sure that happened on this patch of land?
Well, she didn't exactly fall. I threw her out in mid-flight.
Something was telling me you're not all bad, boy, and I was right. Turns out you're my kind of man. So, did you enjoy that experience?
It's not what you think. I pushed her out to save her.
No reason to apologize. You done nothing wrong.
I felt awful as I watched my girlfriend fall through the sky.
Don't worry about that. You'll get over it. The first time always hurts. Then you get used to it. You even start to yearn for it. I'd do it all day long if I could.
I bet you would have killed her. You look like a despicable slayer of helpless women.
Come on, boy. There's no reason to start kissing up to me at this point. And I don't know what you mean by helpless. You look the other way and they start weaving a web. Like a tarantula. Ha! That was pretty funny. Like red tarantulas.
Did I say I pushed her? I keep saying the silliest things lately.
You've got me more turned round than a dog chasing his tail. Let's see. Now, what did you mean?
Yeah, if you haven't seen her, it's because you're all half blind. Sorry.
Are you mocking me, Sippy Boy? Just remember, if I get a hold of your girl, I can give her a real hard time.
In fact, I think she's being held here against her will.
You don't say. There may be another possibility. She might be hiding from you.
I mean, that's not what I meant. It's that... I had no idea this island belonged to you. It must have cost you a small fortune.
I say it's mine because I'm in charge here. Didn't anyone tell you martial law has been imposed on Mala Island?
Why are we under martial law?
Because that way I'm not obliged to answer questions from imbecile civilians like yourself. And even less so when they're about unauthorized topics.
No way. I didn't know we were at war.
Well, we aren't, unfortunately. You know how much I miss the old days back in Nam?
You must be the only person alive who misses a lost war.
I should have kicked the bucket in that war, you know. They riddled me with bullets, so I knelt down and raised my arms for a more photogenic demise. And then some bird brain came along, threw me on his back, and saved me. So here I am, on a two-bit island with no way to die heroically.
I think that was a little platoon tribute.
There've been others since Vietnam. You must have been in some later conflict.
All of them. Even a few you ain't never heard of. Like that time the Reds put fluoride in the water supply to poison our minds. But none was as fun as Nam.
Quit complaining. You're on a paradise island now.
Don't overestimate the fun here. There ain't no enemy battalions at the beach, shrapnel with breakfast, or flocks of vultures hovering over the trenches. Now that would be paradise.
I see you're a man of action.
Like any man with a sense of self-worth, civilian. Like the men of yesteryear, those soldiers who killed at gunpoint. They didn't depend on them bureaucrats and their nuclear arms. But the old days are making a comeback. You'll see, soon.
Getting back to what I was saying, I can tell you're dying to explain why martial law has been declared.
The reason has to do with a big, fat military secret. I wouldn't divulge it to a civilian, even if I was authorized. and definitely not to the likes of you.
I couldn't care less about the martial law, but I'll tell you why I'm on Mala Island.
I knew I could get you to sing in the end. Come on, fess up.
Actually, I didn't even want to come here. It was this girlfriend of mine.
Well, well, it turns out the smart Alex civilian is just a boy in love. Son, if you were a soldier, no woman would be playing around with you. Why don't you enlist?
I can't picture myself in a uniform. Green doesn't go with my skin tone, and helmets give me a headache.
So this is what goddamn civil society has made us sink to? You keep in mind, boy, that I only tolerate 3 kinds of civilians. Women, kids, and the cripple. The rest of y'all should be under military commands, killing for your homeland and dying in combat. But those dang politicians and scientists back in D.C. are all fooled with their welfare state, human rights, and atomic weaponry systems. They're trying to do away with the real army and values that make men men.
It sounds truly exciting, but I don't want to have to kill anyone.
So you're that kind of folks. You say that because you never tried. But once you acquire a taste for it, you'd kill to try again.
Enlist? Me? Do I look like a fool?
What kind of sissy are you, boy? When the winds of change blow through, and they will, you're gonna have to fight. Then I'd like to see what you use your pretty face for. I told you, I won't tolerate the 3rd degree. So answer me or suffer the consequences.
I don't know. I've never held a weapon.
Hey, where'd you go to grammar school, boy? Didn't you get an education?
Man, that's not what I meant. I must have wigged out.
Oh, yeah? What do you mean, then?
I'm not obliged to answer that question. I'll only respond in the presence of my attorney.
So that's your game, huh? Well, move your butt out of my tent, boy, and keep it still until the evacuation takes place.
If only you could offer me a nice plush mattress to park it on with my girl.
Don't you get smart with me, boy. In a few hours, you and all the other civilians left on Mala will be shipped out. The boat's on its way. It's a matter of hours. Flower pot?
Colonel, sir!
Escort the civilian to the door. And if he makes any funny moves, kill him. That guy rubs me the wrong way. I don't want him turning into a relentless pest. Tarantula.
What the f...
I don't know why, but I get a sneaky feeling that the colonel is hiding something. What's more, when I came out, I saw a girl being escorted by a soldier toward Kordsmeyer's tent. For a moment there, I thought it was Gina, and I almost bumped into her. She was blonde and wearing a very tight red leather outfit, but what in the world could that insane colonel be up to? It's clearer and clearer to me that Gina's being held somewhere inside the camp, but they're watching every step I take, so it's impossible to get a good look around. I'll have to find some other way to get in, no matter how hard I have to try. But it won't do me any good to rescue Gina if we have no way out afterward. With all travel by sea and air cut off, those military types would find us in no time. It's obvious. I'll have to cook up a plan to sneak into the camp and find a way to escape from the island. However, with the little help I have, that's going to be one tall order. My only support is a plastered primate, who I'm gradually becoming fond of, I must say. And now that he woke up, his little eyes look so sad. They remind me of a little basset hound puppy I once had in New York. I'll name the little lemur after him. Little Demon.
Little Demon Lord.
Looks like it leads to a crossroad. I'll go see what I find. I can't take one more step. I feel like someone poured a pot of boiling soup into my shoes and I'm cooking noodles between my toes. But it was worth it. Finally, some contact with civilization. There's another soldier with a car. I hope this one doesn't give me any flack. Let's see what the area has to offer. Eureka, a bar with a waitress and everything. Today's your lucky day. Let's go chat her up.
Pretty nifty bar.
Hi there.
Aloha! Welcome to Luana Beach. Where did you come from?
Well, if you mean my place of birth, I come from New York. I got to Mala Island just this morning and...
You don't fool me. I haven't seen any boats or planes arrive in the last 3 days.
The thing is, I landed on the other side of the island, in a biplane that looks worse than a World War II relic.
Did you fly in with Otto?
No way! You guys know each other?
Yeah, we're old pals, and I adore his cool plane. I met my ex-boyfriend Charlie in it. Where is old Otto, by the way?
I think he went to Kauai. Yeah, he left full speed ahead to deliver a shipment of Capote dogs.
Oh, I love those little puppies. And they have such a cute name. Mine is Lani, stranger, which means heavenly rose.
Nice to meet you, Lani. I'm Brian.
Oh, crap. You have the same name as my moron of an ex-boyfriend.
I thought his name was Charlie.
No, that was a different boyfriend. Brian was this loser I'd prefer to forget about. So I'll just have to pick a different name for you. Do you like Kaimi? It means he who searches in Hawaiian.
I like the way it sounds. And if you knew me better, you'd realize it suits me to a T.
Oh yeah, and that fluffy love ball of a cockatoo is Aolani, my best friend, and the only male I can trust.
Charmed, Lani. Look, Lani, I wanted to ask you for something.
Oh, sorry. I must be the worst waitress in the Pacific. What can I do for you, Kaimi?
No, I didn't mean that. I just wanted to chat with you.
I don't know whether to believe you. Whenever my ex said some girl had just chatted with him, I knew to expect the worst.
Brian did that?
Oh no, that was Mikhail, a 7-foot-tall Russian. So, surprise me. What should we chat about?
I haven't seen many people around here.
Yeah, the island's population has been reduced to just a few friends of mine. And this guy dressed like a monk who arrived last night. Plus me and the military guys, as you've observed.
Tell me about that guy who looks like a monk.
He must have gotten here last night after I closed up. He hasn't budged all morning and didn't even notice when I went to say hi. Maybe he's deaf, like my ex.
Mikhail?
No, Renee. He was a better man than most. He was deaf as a doorknob, but he could listen so much better than the average male.
Why didn't they evacuate you and your friends?
They let me stay a few days longer. Colonel's orders. I don't know why, though. And my 2 friends stayed because Knife took Kai for a ride in his motorboat. So the military guys didn't find them till they got back.
Talk to me about your friend Kai.
The poor thing lost his leg to a shark. But he's still the best surfer Mala Island has ever seen. And he comes from a long line of amazing witch doctors. His grandfather, the last kahuna in the family saga, even had his own TV show.
Tell me about Knife.
He goes for the heart-stopping excitement, but he's fickle. Every once in a while, he gets obsessed with a new hobby. Right now, it's surfing, and that's all he thinks about. Lately, the waves around here have been smaller than in a kiddie pool, so he spends the day island hopping in his speedboat in search of killer waves. Oh, and then there's Koala, his son, but you'd better just meet him for yourself.
Where can I find your friends?
They live together at Alawala Cove. If you want to meet them, just follow the highway toward the northeast, and you'll come across their hut. I recommend it as a day trip. It's a lovely spot. Some people think Tiki Temple ruins are prettier, but since they're in the militarized zone, visits are out of the question.
Do you get along with the military guys here on the island?
That first night, they all came here to get sloshed. But then I think the colonel forbid them to return. Now he comes alone.
When did they get here?
About 3 days ago, they evacuated everyone, declared a state of emergency, and set up camp at the Tiki Temple ruins. Rumor has it there was some deadly virus running rampant, but I think the soldiers are being paid off by real estate speculators. They'll end up developing the island into a huge golf course for bored old moneybags, like my ex.
Are you talking about Charlie?
No, I meant Renako, an African millionaire who had petroleum coming out of his diamond-studded ears.
Do you know the man in charge of the troops?
The colonel? Yeah, he looks a lot like my ex, but with half the looks and twice the wrinkles. And he doesn't have that hot criminal look, of course.
Your ex-boyfriend, Brian?
No, Milo, a kid from Central Europe or somewhere around there.
I didn't know you liked older men.
It's not that I have anything for them. The only difference is on the surface, really. Inside, all men are equally childish, no matter what their age. But don't worry, most of us women like children.
After talking with him, it sounds like you got him sailing the Love Boat.
Love boat? Well, he can batten down the hatches and lower his mast, because there's no way I'm riding his love vessel. Plus, I can't stand tobacco smoke, and last night he came here smoking this big fat stogie. It gave off a hideous stench.
I don't like talking about that guy.
Don't look at me. You're the one who brought him up.
Military men bore me. I'm changing the subject.
Well, my ex-boyfriend was a military thug, and he really made me laugh.
Mikhail?
No, Tiru, a hilarious sergeant from India.
I suppose you didn't hear any of those soldiers mention a girlfriend of mine who fell into the lake.
Well, well, a girl. And here I was thinking you didn't have a girlfriend.
No, she isn't my girlfriend.
You sure? Look straight into my eyes and tell me she's not your girlfriend. Into my eyes, Kaimi. A little bit higher. Higher. There.
Hey, look! It's a cockatoo impaled on a stake.
Talk about getting off topic.
Let's talk about something else.
All right, if that's the best you can come up with.
It doesn't seem like you have much work.
Well, before the military got here, my boss didn't give me a moment of tropical island peace. Wait on the bar. Go down to the storeroom. Clean up the photo stand. Shoo those lemurs off the bucking bronco. Put on a skimpier outfit.
Sounds like you have a great boss. Huh.
If only you knew. Once I thought it might be nice to set out some trays of fresh coconut. And he said, I don't pay you to think. If I get so bold as to give a free drink to a customer, he threatens to fire me, because he's the biggest skinflint in the Pacific. And on top of that, when the soldiers came, he ran off like a sissy, but told me that if I closed up shop, he'd fire me.
What was it you said about a bunch of lemurs?
I know it sounds weird, but a few years ago, a Japanese boat full of giant lemurs sunk nearby. It was headed for New York. Anyway, the lemurs swam to shore and took over the beach. You can't imagine what lushes they were. If I turned my back for a second, they'd rip off all the booze. They were bombed day and night, destroying everything they got their little prehensile paws on, until we managed to run them into the jungle on the other side of the island.
Well, I suppose this bar isn't exactly the workplace of your dreams, is it?
Don't be so sure. I've had worse jobs. I even worked in Hollywood as a makeup artist. It sounds all glamorous at first, but when you have to turn 3,000 midgets into extraterrestrials, all the glitz and bling bling starts to fade.
So, how did you manage to find work in Hollywood?
You know, the same way everyone gets a break in the movie world.
Maybe you should save it for another time. There may be minors reading this.
What a dirty little mind you have. I got my break thanks to my mom, who was a makeup artist. She would take me to film shoots before I learned to walk.
Oh, doing movie makeup must be a hard job.
Not really. Maybe it used to be. But ever since they came out with Grease Paint Pro, you can make your grandma look like a star, as the slogan says.
What is that Grease Paint Pro thing?
It's the computer software we movie makeup artists use. You can scan a picture of the character you want to create, another of the person you're making over, and in a few seconds it gives you a range of makeup options. along with the list of the products you'll need, the features you should accentuate or cover up. To put it simply, it's a very expensive wonder program that only big production companies can afford.
But with Grease Paint Pro alone, it's not enough, is it? I bet it's useless without your talent.
They're all essential. The computer, the talent, the scanner, the printer, and of course, the makeup products. I don't mean to brag, but I have them all. The great thing about having a computer geek as a boyfriend is that he can set up a home machine for you that's better than the ones most professionals use.
I don't mean to butt into your business, but are you talking about Mikhail?
No, Koji-san, this guy from Tokyo.
What were we chatting about?
All you men are the same. You're so busy looking at our cleavage, you can't pay attention to what we're saying. So it makes no difference. We can talk about whatever you wish.
Did you work on any famous films?
I wouldn't know. I never go to the movies. I mainly worked in horror movies until I met this director. We started going out, and he hired me to do 3 movies all at the same time.
You don't say. I bet his name was Andy. Or maybe it was Larry.
You're a really bad guesser. Anyway, his name was Peter. He made films in Australia, or did something down under.
You don't look like a makeup artist. Or a waitress, for that
She
matter.
dated Peter Jackson. Holy shit!
I'm not sure if I want to know what you see me as.
I'm
New
gonna
Zealand,
take a
Australia,
stroll.
same thing.
See ya later
Fucking
on.
Aussies.
See you around.
Bunch of whack job bitches. This is a dialogue-heavy chapter, no doubt.
Yeah, I'll keep inspecting the island.
Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Take your fucking time, Brian. Holy shit. And cut. And cut.
I'll try to find that cove Lani told me about. Maybe her friends can help me out.
Well, unless I'm lost, this must be them. And I'm willing to bet the guy with the surfboard is Knife. I'm gonna go check it out. Hey, you're Knife, right?
Sure am, mate. Have we met?
Actually, I haven't, but I've heard about you.
Gnarly, mate. My fame back at the University of California remains. I'm not surprised, though. After so many years trying to finish school, even the professors
Is that his
know.
little tiny
No,
nutsack?
Loki
between his
Lani's the
legs?
one who mentioned you.
Look at Lani's one hot
unfucking
babe,
called
eh?
for either way.
She's like totally from my bones, mate. But don't tell Kai or he'll go aggro.
Okay. Hey, I haven't introduced myself. My name is...
I heard that, bro. You just told Brian that Lani thinks you're the kind. And no one's gonna swallow that, bro.
He is like totally full of himself sometimes. He thinks the fact that some shark chowed down on his paw is enough to impress a Betty. Like, wait, what did Lani say about me?
Not much.
She said you got
just
one
said you're
testicle
crazy
and a
about
small
surfing.
ding-a-ling.
How could I not? I was born in Byron Bay.
Where?
Byron Bay, in Australia, mate. The place with the bitchinest airs on the planet, buddy boy. Thing is, when I was a kid, I didn't like surfing. I was all into underwater diving. California's where I got all hyped on surfing, but crikey, over there in Cali, it's majorly packed. You know you gotta reserve a wave at least 2 days in advance.
No, I didn't. Hard to believe.
I'm telling you, and don't think that means you get to ride it alone. Nah, they rent it out to so many mates at once you feel like you're surfing in a public toilet.
So, of course, you decided to come here for the peace and quiet.
For Kai, too. When I was a freshman in Surfin' Sciences, I saw him do a demo in a video, and it was so gnarly that I dropped out of college to become his student. Kai rules, mate. People say he's a bum just because he spends 16 hours a day resting, but all the masters have to meditate.
I guess that video was recorded before he lost his leg, right?
Negative, mate. The most awesome thing is that his mastery's greater with that iron leg than most people with... Hey, you're not trying to get him to give you classes, are you?
Don't worry, surfing's not my thing.
You're not into surfing? Whoa, what's up with that? I knew there were some freaks out there, but... So, what brings you to Mola, then?
Before, you said you studied surfing at the university.
Full on, mate. Since people spent all day on the beach and the classrooms were empty, the uni decided to dream up some more interesting majors and the students were majorly stoked. It was mythical, mate. I, for instance, signed up for 14 different majors. From skating sciences to applied Tai Chi, plus adventure sports theory and practicum and California punk aesthetics. I didn't go to class much, but it was cool to say your major was one of those rad subjects.
Loki Lani told me you have a motorboat.
Loki Lani's a sweet babe, ain't she? So what about the motorboat?
I think you used the motorboat to look for waves on the nearby islands.
No, that was before. The guys in green told me they'll whip out their guns and shoot me if I use it. They must hate surfing so much that one of them says he wants to fly over the beach in a helicopter while I'm surfing, and use me for target practice. People are just totally wacko.
Could I borrow your motorboat?
My regrets, mate. If those army thugs catch you, they'll rough you up and leave me boatless. Then forget looking for waves, cars, classes, and everything surfing means. Plus, just this morning I tuned it up, and I don't want you screwing it up.
What does everything surfing means stand for, if I may ask?
Mate, surfing is a philosophy of life. On the one hand, it forces you to let yourself get carried away by the currents of nature. And on the other, it makes you control the situation so you won't wipe out. To achieve that, which is the essence of surfing, you just need two things: balance and foresight. 3 days, mate. 3 days without riding a wave.
Is surfing your only pastime?
No, mate. Normally, I work as a tourist guide. I take them down to get all stoked over the lake, the falls, the temple, and fishing, but right now, I'm on a required vacation. And not a single pathetic wave to ride.
Don't you take him to Loki Lani's bar?
That Loki Lani's a hot babe. Fair dinkum, eh? Of course, I take them there, and she pays me a commission for every drink they slip down. Mate, I make more off of that than my salary.
And Kai is that good of a teacher?
He's one righteous mate. In the beginning, I'm majorly stressed, but he made me walk around the whole island and substitute for him as a tourist guide. Then I wigged out even more, because he made me wax boards for 2 weeks. Wax on, wax off, and on top of it, he just laid there
Karate
without
Kid.
moving a finger. I almost returned to California. Or Australia, that is. But then he started to teach me for real, and you gotta admit, the mate's better than the whole surfing university faculty put together. Plus, I realized he's no bum. He's just meditating.
Let's talk about your motorboat again.
Isn't that, like, totally rad?
What were we talking about before?
I don't know, about surfing, maybe?
What's the meaning of those movements you were making before?
Tai Chi, mate. Since I can't surf, I have to do something to keep in shape.
It seems weird to me that you have a son.
Koala? He is even weirder. I'm not sure whether he'll turn out to be a criminal or an artist.
You look too young to have a son.
I'm telling you, mate, it just happened once, kind of by chance. I met this hot, amazing, mythical babe who digs adventure sports and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We were kindred souls, but hers was in a bikini. The thing is, when Koala was born, she got the chance to climb Mount Everest on a tightrope. So of course she bailed. Then she did this round-the-world hydro bike tour, then some other expedition, then another. So, I guess she'll come back someday, but I try not to let it get to me. There's too much stuff to keep me busy, and freaking out is for nerds.
Did you say your kid's name is Koala?
No, mate, actually his name is... It's... Mike. Well, eventually I'll remember. I call him Koala because of this cartoon movie he's watched like 10 bazillion times. One of the characters is this blue alien, but the kid kept yapping, "Look at the koala!" Since he saw one when he went to visit his grandparents that summer, it was koala this and koala that. So now, he's stuck with Koala.
Why do you think he'll be a criminal when he grows up?
'Cause he's killing me, mate. Me and everyone else, 'cause he can't sit still for a second. He doesn't actually speak, but his actions speak loud enough. This morning, while we were having breakfast at Loki Lani's, he started raging on this military mate who almost whacked him to the other side of the island. And he's one fast little bugger too. If you turn the other way for a second, he'll totally whip your butt. By the way, that Loki Lani's a hot babe, eh?
What makes you think he'll be an artist?
Didn't you see the sand turtle the little tyke built? I'm like totally amazed at the way he works with his hands. He made it in like 2 seconds, mate, right before going out for breakfast. But ever since he got his hands on that console, he's locked himself in the house and it's goodbye turtle.
Let's leave your son be.
Yeah, mate, if he gets bored with that game Power Station or whatever it's called, you're gonna freak.
I'll just leave you alone here, Knife.
Later, mate. Hey, do me a favor. Don't go into my hut, 'cause my kid's in there flipping out with a console I picked up while we were having breakfast at Lani's. And now that he's quiet for once, we better just leave him alone, in case he decides to come out and ruin this peaceful moment.
Alrighty then. Return here. Forgot to grab the cigar out of the ashtray. Look at that.
It's full of sand, ash, cigarette butts, and that looks like a cigar holder. I bet I can find some use for that. If I remember right, that's the brand Kordsmeyer smokes. Sure, why not? Look, Lani, could I borrow your chalkboard?
Go ahead. Nobody's ordering any cocktails around here anymore.
It comes with chalk, too.
So hot. Want to touch the hiney.
Alright, folks, that wraps it up for this episode. Stay tuned for more. Chapter 2 soon to come. Runaway. Dreaming about turtles and shit.